Welcome to Trend Micro's podcast demonstration of worry-free business security services. This is Trend Micro's hosted endpoint security designed for the Windows desktops, laptops, and file servers. Having a hosted endpoint solution eliminates the need for the customer to provide the security server to host the console that manages their endpoint security. Upon logging into our console, we come to the live status screen. The live status screen gives us some information about what's going on inside of the worry-free system according to parameters you set up from the notifications area. We'll get to that in a minute. You notice here as our threat status, for our system status, and our license status, there are things that can be put in play that can give you important information about what's going on inside of the system itself. Once we get to the computer screen, we come to the nuts and bolts of what worry-free business security does. This is where we install our agents to our machines, create our groups, and do our real-time configuration. Now obviously the first thing that needs to happen is our client agents need to be loaded to the machines it's going to protect. When we do this, just to the left of the middle of the screen there's an add. If we click add, and we click add computers, we come to a screen that allows us to put this client agent onto our machines. There are several different ways that this can happen. One, and the most popular, as you see at the top, is the web installation, where essentially through your email client, we're actually sending the end users an email with a hyperlink to the executable. You can also do installation through a startup script. We can also take the package, download it, save it to a CD, a thumb drive, or put it on a shared server somewhere inside of the network. Now once the client agent is loaded to the machine, the agent itself talks back to the worry-free business security services that's on your console in the cloud. Now in the computers area, we allow two default groups, one for servers and one for desktops. But you can add as many groups as you need for your security inside of your business. Just go back up to the Add tab, click Add a Group, give it a name, and that creates another group here. After that, moving clients from group to group is just a matter of clicking and dragging and moving machines into the groups that you want them in. Because when we start to configure, we configure groups. So as I click on one of my groups and click configure, this is where we do all of our real-time scan configurations. Now under the scan method, you see that Smart Scan has been selected by default. This is Trend Micro's new technology with regards to the client agent on the machine. The bulk of the client agent, the part that's the pattern file, is held in the cloud, not so much on the client. In our antivirus, anti-spyware, this is where you configure your real-time scanning for your antivirus and anti-spyware protection. Inside of our target, obviously we want to select the method of the scanning, a condition of when that scan actually happens on the file in real time. In the advanced settings, enabling IntelliTrap, searches for botnet traffic, scanning through map drives, shared folders, floppy disk, even compressed files up to 6 layers is an option. The exclusion list is where we allow you to come in and put exclusions in real-time scanning. These can be annotated either by the directory, by the file, or by the extension itself. Once we're done with our target, then we come to our Action tab. We found this, what do we want done with it? Active Action, as you see at the top, is Trend Micro's recommended action for anything that we find. You can configure your own if you like. Go down to Section 2 or Section 3, and using the pull-down menus, you determine what you want done with each particular type of malware. We can back up the files before we clean them. Spyware, grayware, we want to clean that. And the advanced settings is displaying an alert message on the desktop when something has been detected. Once we're done with our antivirus, anti-spyware configuration, we come to the features that help make the client agent work a little more efficiently. First one we come to is our software firewall. By default, this is off. As I click the advanced mode, you can see that this is a port-based firewall. Select your security level, high, medium, or low, and then at the bottom, poke holes in your firewall. Our next piece is the web reputation. What this is doing is scoring websites according to the health and the reputation of the websites. The objective here is to keep malicious code out of your system that's trying to come in through Port 80 traffic, whether it's in the core part of the site or even in the ad banners that are part of the websites. You determine your security level, high, medium, or low. Each one of those correlates to a reputation score. High is 80 and low is 50. Once you select your security level, that website has to have a specific score before your end user can see it. These scores are generated by our virus team. Once the score has been annotated by one of our virus experts, it gets loaded into our web reputation database in the cloud, and therefore you have your protection against that website. There is a URL filtering in the client. We block according to categories, and each one of these categories do have subcategories that we can make annotations into. Come down to the bottom, select your business hours, your time of business. We can block or release web traffic during business hours and or during leisure hours. And again, remember that we're configuring in groups, so different groups can have different URL filtering configurations. Behavior monitoring is another nice feature. What this is doing is actually monitoring or even denying certain actions that happen on a machine, whether they be by an end user or by malicious code. You determine each action, and with the pull-down menus, determine how you want to interact with them. Either you allow them, you ask for a reason when necessary, or you can block these actions. The mail scan allows you that if you are allowing your end users to look at your POP3 mail, we can do a real-time scan on that. Client privileges is a screen that allows you as an IT administrator to determine exactly what an end user can or cannot do with this antivirus. As you see, most of our check marks here are deleted, but if you have a specific reason for letting the end user be able to manipulate your antivirus, by all means utilize these and put the check marks in as you see fit. Now once you're done with the real-time configuration of your antivirus client, configure manual and schedule scans for those same clients. Click the scan area. We have a tab for manual scans and schedule scans. Notice that all my groups show up in here, the same as in the schedule scan, because if I was to click on one of these groups, I come to another target and an action, because your manual and your scheduled scans may have different scan configurations than your real-time scanning. We allow you to put those in here. In the scheduled scan area, you determine a schedule of when this group of machines actually get scanned. There is some reporting in the program. As we look at this and click New, you can see the type of reports. This is a very high overview of a report for information that you may want or need in your business to determine configuration changes. Okay, determine a report name, a frequency of that report, determine all of your clients or by specific group, and then determine what types of information that you want in this particular report. You see, as I expand these areas, some of the things that you have the ability to look at. And then at the bottom, who do you want to get the report? Now, if you need something a little more granular, going back to the reports area, if you notice at the bottom here, there's a log query. This is probably where you'll get most of your information across the board when it comes to what's going on inside your system, such as a URL filtering report. Determine your date range. Obviously, we're looking desktop and server, and come down at the bottom and click the URL filtering. Once we get to administration, this is kind of the paperwork area of the product itself. As I mentioned at the beginning of this, the notifications area, this is where you set up certain parameters, different things that may cause you to sit up and take notice. So many instances for viruses that exceed a certain number in a certain amount of time, you will get a notification about with this check mark. They'll actually send you an email. We'll also put something on the live status screen. And you see there are different parameters for each type of alert, each type of malware that's happening. You can put your numbers and your parameters in here as you see fit. Even for the licenses, as you see down at the bottom. Once your license comes within 60 days of expiration, we'll send you an email. If for some reason or another it happens to expire, you will get another email from us saying that your product has expired. There are some global settings in the product that pertain to all of your clients, no matter what group they're in. Things like excluding the Exchange server folders, the domain controller folders, spyware, grayware, if we're scanning for cookies or not, the approved and the blocked settings for your web reputation and your URL filtering. You can see that in here. And of course the agent control settings, the main part is down at the bottom. Putting a password on the client so the end user can't unload it or uninstall it on his own. Of course, our product license page will give you our activation code and how long it's good for. And this is our worry-free business security services console, our hosted endpoint security for Windows desktops, Windows file servers, and Windows laptops. Thank you for attending.
Thanks for watching this podcast. We invite you to send your comments and suggestions to techtv@trendmicro.com.